Many sources report that more than 50,000 Palestinians, including thousands of children, have been killed since October 7, 2023. Around the world, millions of people demanding that Israel stop what they called a genocide. And if you agree with that, I'm going to say something you probably never expected to hear. You might be a big reason that these deaths are still happening. And if it makes you angry or surprised, it's good, because this is not normal war. And by the end of this video, if you of course stick with me and trying to understand, you will see exactly what I mean, and potentially, and I hope that you agree with me. So let's get to it. First, we need to understand, is the Israel occupier of Palestine? To answer this, we have to understand, what is Palestine? Is it a country? What is it? Actually, Palestine is the place. It's a region. And this region, for 2000 years, it was called Judea, the Holy Land. And it was mentioned in the Bible as where the Jesus Christ was born. In 135 CE current era, which is today 2025 current era, Roman Emperor Hadrian renamed this place from Judea to Syria Palestina, shortened Palestine, and for 3000 years Jews have lived there in this place, Judea or Palestine, wherever you prefer to call their region, this land. They constantly have been living there, where the numbers have been risen or fallen under different rulers, different nations. Most importantly, for the last 400 years and before 1917, Palestine was under the Ottoman Empire, which is Turkey. And then the Britain took over after World War I and started calling it the British Mandate for Palestine. At this time, 1917 or around that time, there are many tribes lived in this area, Palestine. Mostly Arabs, then Jews, and little bit of Christians and other ethnicities and religion. All those people call themselves Palestinians, not because of the ethnicity of religion, but because of the name of that place. Like you live in America, we called ourselves Americans. But Mexico is also in America and Canada, but we actually called ourselves Americans, which doesn't mean that we own that whole North America as a continent. Because of the place, we called ourselves Americans. It happens that way. Means nothing who owns North America. You see the point?
I'm a Palestinian. From 21 until 48, I carried a Palestinian passport. There was no such thing in this area as Jews and Arabs and Palestinians. There were Jews and Arabs.
But in 1947, the United Nations passed the Resolution 181, ending British Mandate and dividing Palestine into the three parcels. Two for Arabs who locally live there, West Bank and Gaza Strip, two places. You can see it on the map, and one for Jews, the new state of Israel. That time the population was about 1.2 million for Arabs and 608,000 people, Jewish people, and around 35,000 Christians and other ethnicities and religions. If you ignore desert and mountains, if you look at the map, Palestinian Arabs actually received a better livable place than the Jews, as it was partitioned by the United Nations. So no, Israel did not occupy Palestine. Israel was created legally through UN vote. Then An obvious observation and a question come in mind. The Jews began building their state immediately from that resolution from 1947, but what happened with Arab state? And this is what happened, and this is like epiphany of all of this. The Palestine, did they started building anything? And the answer is no. But why? Actually, because in 1948, 5 Arab nations surrounding this place, Palestine, Syria, Iraq, Transjordan, Lebanon, Egypt, backed also by Saudi Arabia and Yemen, they declared war on Israel. The goal of these nations wasn't to help Palestinians to build their state. Their goal was to destroy, to wipe Israel off the map. Nobody tells you that Palestinians themselves didn't start any of these wars starting from 1948. They had no army, no organized government. They were cut in the middle, being used as pawns by other surrounding Arab nations. That's a sad truth. So let's forward to pre-October 7th, 2023, war in Gaza and Israel. Palestinian state is consisted from two states within two different areas. One is in Gaza Strip and the second is in the West Bank. Gaza Strip was under different control up to 2005, when under the pressure from the United States, Israel actually pulled out from Gaza, and Gaza had been independent state and was run since then for 20 years by Hamas. The other part of Palestinian state is called West Bank. It is run by Palestinian authorities, but policed by Israel army, and the West Bank is very important and strategic place for Israel. That's why Israel cannot and will not give up the control over West Bank. In history, when Israel allowed the independence of the West Bank, it became the place of attack on Israel. It's been a nightmare for Israel. But the second, even more important reason, that West Bank and Israel are sharing the important part of the fresh water sources of the Jordan River and the underground fresh water sources in the area starting Golan Heights. So look at the table that I created for you to understand some of the key numbers of the situation in Palestine before October 7, 2023. Gaza Strip, for example, you can pause the video and look at the table, but some of the ideas that Gaza Strip population was about 2.2 million people. 45% was unemployed. 80% of the population were dependent on the foreign support. Also, looking at the table, you can see that two Palestinian states, Gaza and West Bank, were heavily dependent on Israel for electricity and water supplies. But let's come back to the start of the war in October 7, 2023. West Bank, actually, which has been under military oversight from Israel, didn't start the war. But the war actually started from the Gaza Strip, which was independent for 20 years. So Hamas started the war by launching over 5,000 rockets in a single day and killing and abducting civilian people in Israel. So Hamas knew exactly what would happen after this rocket launching and killing of civilian people of Israel. They knew what's going to happen.
I think anybody like me or any Palestinians or anyone really that knows the situation, I think we all knew what was coming.
They knew that Israel will retaliate in a big way. But you have to think about that. Hamas had no way to gain any land from Israel. It was not also in a fight for freedom. Gaza was already independent for 20 years. So this war was not about any freedom fighting. This war was a continuation of the first war which started in 1948. It was all about destroying Israel. So if they had no chance of winning anything, what was the point of this war? And as I said, the point is the same for all the wars: to destroy Israel and to create the chaos in this land. Not for Palestinian people. You say like, but Palestinian people don't need the chaos. Of course, they don't have say so. That's the reason of this video, to let you know, to open your eyes that Palestinian people, it's not the war, there was no war between Palestine and Israel. It's all and has been, all the wars have been from outside, from this Palestine as a region, against Israel and against Jewish people. So you say like, okay, I got it. So like they have no chance to win in anything. But what is the point of, besides terroristic attack and taking the hostages? What is going on? And this is exactly where you come in this picture. Hamas has no reason to negotiate the peace. They don't need peace. Hamas is just like employed by somebody, and I don't want to throw accusation in a particular nation or people, but Hamas receives money from somewhere. There is no jobs in Gaza. So where would you go? Like, you want to feed your family, you want to do something. There is nothing to do in Gaza. So Hamas is actually a tool. So let's make a conclusion. This war didn't start on October 7th. It's been going on for 77 years, and every time outside forces keep it alive. So if you truly care about Palestinian people, don't just demand Israel to stop. Demand Hamas to stop too. Demand new leadership in Gaza. And please remember that Hamas never had any chance to defeat Israel, and it doesn't have any chance for anything, but it will not surrender. And if you remember, I told you that you are part and the reason that this death will be continuing in Gaza, because Hamas is thinking and hoping for your support, your political pressure. And this chaos in the Middle East, it's important for somebody. And this is not a part of the video that I will develop that idea who is standing behind of this war. It doesn't matter. The point is, you fueled by this disinformation, which promoted by different politicians and corrupt, greedy media, which making money on this tragedy in Gaza. And because if you don't understand that, and will not start demanding Hamas to stop the war too, starting actually from Hamas, this tragedy is bound to continue.